As you all know, that prosencephalon, having a median part known as diencephalon and two lateral diverticula known as telencephalic vesicles. Telencephalic vesicles will give rise to the cerebral cortex and corpus striatum on both the sides, whereas diencephalon will lead to the development of thalamus, hypothalamus and related structures. The cavity of diencephalon forms the third ventricle, whereas cavities of two telencephalic vesicles will form two lateral ventricles. The telencephalic vesicles are at first small. Afterward, they expand in all the directions, first to the forward direction, then upward, and then backward, then into the backward direction. So ultimately, it forms an oval-shaped outline having supralateral, medial, and inferior surfaces. They grow backward until they overlap the surrounding structure. Afterwards, the tension of the limiting tissues of the brain capsule arrests the backward growth of the telencephalic vesicles. So the primitive posterior pole changes its direction to the forward and downward side, and expansion of the cavity of the lateral ventricle in the same direction will form the inferior horn of this lateral ventricle, and that forward and downward expansion will form the temporal lobe as well as temporal pole of the brain. Subsequent growth of the frontal and occipital poles will lead to the development of the anterior and posterior horns of the lateral ventricle. The medial surfaces of both the cerebral hemisphere are separated by a longitudinal cleft. At the bottom of cleft lies the corpus callosum, and mesodermal tissues within the cleft forms the falx cerebri. Later on, an evagination develops from the undersurface of the cerebral vesicles. This evagination solidifies entirely, distal part of which forms the olfactory bulb and the proximal part of it forms the olfactory tract. The point of attachment of the olfactory tract on the undersurface of cerebral vesicles forms the pyriform area. The lower part of the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere is thin and made up of single layer of ependymal cells covered by vascular mesenchyme, the pyometer, which two together form the tela choroida. From the tela choroida, the capillary plexus grows laterally into the cavity of the lateral ventricle through this thin medial wall. So, along with tela choroida, the capillary plexus forms the choroid plexus. The cleft along which this choroid plexus invaginates forms the choroid fissure. At first, through the interventricular foramen, choroid plexus arches backward along the central part of the lateral ventricle. Then it curves downwards and forward along the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Thus, choroid fissure appears as a C-shaped arch along the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere. The portion of the wall of the cerebral cortex except the choroid fissure forms the pallium. Having learned the development of various lobes, poles and lateral ventricle of the cerebral hemisphere, we will now learn the development of corpus striatum. The corpus striatum is derived from the telencephalon. Early in the development, the wall of telencephalon is divided into two parts, the basal part, which is thick, and the superior part, which is thin. Some of the cells of the mental layer of thick basal part migrate outward into the marginal zone and contributes to the development of cerebral cortex. whereas the cells which remain in the mantle layer form the corpus striatum. The developing corpus striatum soon subdivides into two parts, the medial part and the lateral part. Meanwhile, the cerebral cortex is developing and the various axons that coming downward from the cortex or growing towards the cortex divide the developing corpus striatum into the superficial part and deep part. From the superficial part of the corpus striatum develops the lentiform nucleus. The lentiform nucleus is subdivided into two parts, the putamen laterally and globus pallidus medially. The projecting fibers from the cerebral cortex form the internal capsule. The deep part of the corpus striatum develops into the caudate nucleus. This caudate nucleus is having head, body and tail. The head and the body occupies the floor of the central part of the lateral ventricle, whereas tail occupies the roof of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, and this tail ends as an enlargement. That enlargement is known as amygdaloid body. Thus, entire caudate nucleus forms an coma-shaped mass along the concavity of the choroid fissure.